gonna do a majority of the work, dude. Hey, I'm ready. We're good. Stream's up.
Okay, let me put my plate away. Pat, you better get your B-blade.
What did you have for dinner?
What?
You said you put your plate away. What did you have for dinner?
Oh, I just made a bunch of eggs and
Or
soy sauce.
Oh, that's I forget your AM.
Yeah, I just had
Breakfast.
10 eggs and soy sauce.
That's actually a very healthy meal. That's a little healthy for you.
What?
Well, soy sauce I don't know, but soy sauce is a little unless it's low sodium soy sauce, but
Well, it's a little bit different.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Ube.
It's in the Philippines. Yeah, you're in the Philippines.
It's also made with ube instead.
Yeah. So it's a healthy meal for you. That's actually a healthy meal for you.
UB
Versus your normal
ube.
McDonald's meal.
I still eat McDonald's every day. I have a couple of quarter pounders.
Does it? You ate McDonald's over in America, and you.
It's identical taste. There's no difference.
Is it? Even with like the beef, because they don't.
Burger King is different, though. I'll say Burger King does different. They use local beef in Burger King. And
McDonald's doesn't. McDonald's has it imported.
McDonald's, yeah, it's just
they
the
use
same
their same.
exact.
Oh, okay. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, McDonald's is the only. Well, McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts both taste the same. Burger King does not taste the same. It has a hint of the same, but it tastes different because you can tell the beef tastes different just because of the way the cows are raised.
Okay.
Starbucks tastes the same. The sizes are different though. Like the Ventis are like probably smalls in America. So
Yeah, the
that's the only thing with
Ventis are small.
Starbucks.
The Ventis are the Ventis are large.
Ventis are large. I'm just saying like the size is like it's small really. It's not actually large. That's the big difference is the sizes. You know? The McDonald's sizes.
Oh, so a Venti there's a small, or it looks small?
No, I mean, it's large to them, but to us, it's small.
Oh, okay.
The biggest difference though in McDonald's is they have extra menu items. So you can have rice with everything, because rice is the most common side dish, right?
Yeah.
And they make their own fried chicken, which really does not taste like anything I've had before. It's really different. I don't like it, but it's their McDonald's they call it McDough. Chicken McDough. You know how we say Mickey D's? You know how we say
Yeah, Mickey D's.
They say McDough instead of, I don't know.
That's their abbreviation for
McDonald's. Yeah, MCDO, but they pronounce it McDo. Because I thought it was like McDo. That was McDough apparently. So they call it chicken McDough, which is what they call their fried chicken and rice. I don't really like it. It's tolerable. It's just not great. I really just stick with my double quarter pounders. They also have ube pie, which ube is like a yam, like their own, like a fruity yam. So they also have that, which is popular. I'm not a fan of the local food as much. I don't like Asian food really. Like I don't like sushi or any of that stuff. So
you're not an Asian food guy, dude.
Egg rolls. I like egg rolls. If that counts. But
Jackie Chan's egg rolls.
Egg rolls.
Oh yeah, Jackie Chan's egg rolls, dude. I'm actually kind of shocked you don't like Asian food. Asian food's really good.
Definitely crap.
Wow, dude. Hey, brother, I'm ready. Right here. Let me.
Okay, so let me get this here.
Let me share this in the Discord while you're doing this. Yeah, so from now on, we'll start at 8 p.m.
Yep.
Bible studies.
If Pat can make it.
It's 8 p.m., dude. We're starting earlier, not later. I don't understand why he's so tired. We're starting earlier.
So let's go to 2 Samuel
Pat,
23.
what time do I need to start for you not to be tired?
Noon.
Yeah, that can't happen, dude. Alright,
What did you do? Did you do anything different today? 2 Samuel 23.
2 Samuel 23.
It does seem early for you to get tired, though, like, legitimately, like, all joking aside. Like, this is kind of early for you to get tired. Usually you get tired, like, 2 hours from now, or whatever, 3 hours. But this is, like, kind of early for you. So, did you do something different today? What did you do today?
He sounds dead. He doesn't even just sound tired. He sounds like he's done for the day.
And last Friday you were sick. Now this, like, dude, what's wrong with your body, man? Like, dude, you need to get a checkup done, dude. Well, dude, you can start reading now. 2 Samuel 23, Pat.
Hold on, 2 Samuel.
Okay.
Hold on. 2
Samuel 23.
23. The whole thing, right? We're starting at 1.
Yeah, this is David's last. We're going to end at 7. 23, 1 to 7.
Alright, 1 to 7. Okay. We are good.
Yeah, this is David's last words. 2 Samuel 23.
Did you party too hard?
I mean, dude, you sound like you're on drugs, Pat. You sound like you're on drugs.
You do, kind of.
Dude, when you get quote-unquote tired, I don't believe it's tiredness, dude. I believe you're on some hardcore drugs. Like, seriously. Did you go,
I heard it too. I was just about to say it.
I said okay.
Dude, Pat, you cannot do Minecraft. There's no way you're doing Minecraft and do something like this. Like, oh my goodness, you're just going to stand still.
What is going on?
23 what?
Just 23, 1 to 7. Just
Okay.
read it to understand it, not just read it to say it. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah. Shut up. Yeah. Is there something funny? Oh, it's really funny.
You on drugs? It's like Mason getting out of breath drawing.
What?
Mason got out of breath drawing.
He got out of breath.
He's like, yeah, I'm drawing. Your arm.
Dude, what was he doing? I was like, okay.
A Mason out of breath makes you wake up in the world.
Alright. Okay. Now these are the last words of David. Thus says David the son of Jesse. Thus says the man raised up on high, the anointed of the God of Jacob, and the sweet psalmist of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord spoke by me, and his word was on my tongue. The God of Israel said, The Rock of Israel spoke to me. He who rules over men must be just, ruling in the fear of God. And he shall be like the light of the morning when the sun rises, a morning without clouds, like the tender grass springing out of the earth, by clear shining after rain. Although my house is not so with God, yet he has made me an everlasting covenant, ordered in all things and secure. For this is my salvation and all my desire. Will he not make it increase? But the sons of the rebellion shall all be as thorns thrust away, because they cannot be taken with hands. But the man who touches them must be armed with an iron and the shaft of a spear, and they shall be utterly burned with fire in their place.
Okay, so Pat, what do you get from that? What does it remind you of?
What was your question?
What is David's last words make you think of?
Okay.
What's the problem, Pat? Why'd you laugh after going?
He's like describing how a leader should be. Yes.
You sound like so like. Why'd you go quieter and quieter? You sounds like. Like you got quieter and quieter every word. Okay, so skipping his introduction, he just goes straight into he who rules over man must be just. He must be a just man. He who rules over man must be just. We obviously know that Donald Trump is the David of our time, and he is a just man to rule over all. He's ruling in the fear of the God, just like Donald Trump. You always know he never puts himself above God, ever. In fact, he says the words, "I would never do that, I'm afraid of what would happen." He said that before. He is ruling in the fear of God. And he shall be like the light of the morning when the sun rises. You know? Ironically, that just made me think of something else. He shall be like the light of the morning when the sun rises. Obviously, he's not meaning this in a literal sense of like his color, but when you think about it, what kind of color is it like when the sun rises? It's kind of orangey.
Really, Raz?
So you make that connection. That's a coincidence connection, but it's funny. But it's also kind of true. I think that's the humor of God as well. That's there because he is kind of literal light of the morning, and so he shall be like the light of the morning when the sun rises. No, a morning without clouds, like the tender grass springing out of the earth, by clear shining after rain. Although my house is not so with God. What does that mean, Pat? Although my house is not so with God.
Even though not like their relationship with God is not perfect.
So even though he is right with God, before God he is right. You know, maybe his children or his family members or the people he surrounded himself with might not necessarily be all for God. Might not necessarily be against him, but just maybe unbelievers or just people off in some way. Or maybe lukewarm Christians that are saying that they're Christian, but they're not truly Christian. You know? Although my house is not so with God, yet he has made with me an everlasting covenant, which in itself shows the mercy of God to still do that, even using people who are against him in some way, which also reminds you of the people Donald Trump surrounded himself with. I mean, he might have some great minds or good people around him, but like that Vivek guy or whatever, like he's not a Christian. He in fact said before in his own campaign when he was running for presidency that I will not be bringing Christianity to America. I don't care about Christianity. He said that before. But he has okay morality, and Donald Trump can use him, and it doesn't change the promise Donald Trump has on his life, just like other people around him. Like Elon Musk is still trying to discover his, you know, what he believes in, so he's not really for God in that sense. But, you know, again, God can use Donald Trump and keep that promise with him. You know, it's the same kind of situation. So although my house is not so with God, yet he made an everlasting covenant with me, ordered in all things and secure. For this is all my salvation and all my desire. Will he not make it increase? But the sons of rebellion shall all be as thorns thrust away, because they cannot be taken with hands. But the man who touches them must be armed with iron and shaft of spear, and that they shall be utterly burned with the fire in their place. I mean, think what strong last words. I mean, I would imagine you're on your dying bed and this is like your last words, or like the man who touches them must be armed with iron and a shaft of spear, and they shall be utterly burned with fire in their place, and then just dies.
No.
It's pretty strong last words. But
it is.
You can see a big comparison to David and Donald Trump, even in the last words. Everything happens in cycles. You know, there's Antichrist spirits the same back then as there are now. There's people God uses in the same way as he did back then, like prophets, preachers, leaders. Donald Trump is like a Silas. Donald Trump is like a David. You know, David and Silas were like each other in many ways. And it's the same kind of thing. Donald Trump is this of this time. Winston Churchill is another example of someone like a David. Winston Churchill had a very similar role.
Nope.
You know?
Sure.
And he doesn't get enough credit, honestly. Winston Churchill deserves way more credit.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
God used Winston Churchill, and if he didn't walk in that promise, America as a whole, the world as a whole, would not be the same right now. We'd probably be all speaking German right now if it wasn't for Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill is the biggest reason why the world is the way it is now with safety and stuff. So now going all the way to 1 John 2:18.
1 John
2:18. So I will say, so you know how in the when Obama was president, you know, from like 2008 2012, there was a lot of people who made these videos like, oh, Obama is the Antichrist, or or some people think
Yeah,
King
I thought he
Charles
was.
or Prince Charles was the Antichrist. I know I've heard people say that, you know, the world.
No, I thought Obama was though.
So I'm just saying I've heard different people say these
Yeah.
different things, right? And you can understand why, because they give the appearance in certain ways, whatever reason. So now going into 1 John 2:18, it says, "Little children, it is the last hour, and as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have come, by which we know that it is the last hour." So that in itself shows the Antichrist spirit has always been around, even back in the biblical days. So in that sense, Obama is the Antichrist. Just like
for sure.
someone might make an argument about Charles, or what, I don't really know about that.
To an extent, yeah.
He has the literal Antichrist spirit in him. He's working in it. And they're trying to become the actual Antichrist, like the final boss Antichrist, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they try bringing these things into the thing. So Obama is walking in the promise of Satan being the Antichrist. He was promised to be the Antichrist. And that's why they tried, doing all this stuff in the last few years and why everything happened. Because just like Hitler had the Antichrist spirit. He was promised to be the Antichrist. He was supposed to be the Antichrist in, Satan's eyes. And he was using him, just like, throughout history, and to bring the final hour to now. Now, the Christians stood up and stopped it from happening before its time. The thing is, though, if the Christians ever stopped, Satan would bring the Antichrist to earlier than it's supposed to be. That's the fact, because the real Antichrist spirit is in these people. It was even in this time, it says. It is the last hour, and as you've heard, the Antichrist is coming. Even now, many Antichrists have come. It's not even saying, like, guys who could be or are working in it. Like, it literally says many Antichrists have come.
Yeah.
Like, the literal Antichrist. It's the same spirit, and it's why we got to be very careful of who we give our affiliation with, who we vote for in a sense of elections, who we stand by, even in the sense of celebrities, because there can be celebrity Antichrist spirits. By which we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest, that none of them were of us. But you have an anointing from the Holy One, and you know all things. I have not written to you because you do not know the truth, but because you know it, and that no lie is of the truth. Who is a liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? He is Antichrist, who denies the Father and the Son. That in itself says he is the Antichrist. Anyone who denies the Father and the Son and is in a leadership position of any sense, if it's a teacher,
it makes sense.
he is Antichrist. He is the Antichrist. He has the literal Antichrist spirit in him. He's a deceiver. He's of hell. And he wants to be the final Antichrist, and they try bringing it to this day. And
they're
willing that would not happen.
They're a form of Antichrist, but they're not the Antichrist, like the final one.
Whoever denies the Son does not have the Father either. He who acknowledges the Son has the Father also. Now going to 1 John 4:7. 1 John 4:7. So just the next page of my Bible. Let us love one
Hold
another.
on, what was it?
For
Hold on. Sorry.
1 John 4:7.
1 John 4:7. Alright, go on.
Let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. In this the love of God was manifested towards us, that God has sent his only begotten Son into the world, that we might live through him. In this love,
Hey, John.
not that
Good
we
to hear
loved
you
God,
there.
but that he loved us, and sent his Son to be the proposition for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about acceptance. People think love is acceptance now, and it's not. And that is stupid. You are an idiot to say love is acceptance. But it is important to remember in these days, especially, we are in the final days ever since Jesus, left. Now we're not in the final hour. That's a whole separate thing.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't believe the last hour is probably going to be, in my own estimate of things, which
Probably
no
not
one
in
can
our
ever
lifetime.
really know.
For sure.
No, definitely not in our lifetime. There's too many things that have to happen.
Yeah.
Now it could have been if the Christians did not stand up, if Donald Trump was not elected, if Satan got his way, Obama became the full-on Antichrist, everything. It would have happened in our time easily, but thankfully people stood up, and it did not happen before the time. I mean, even Robin said, if we don't get it this time, we're going to have to wait 70 years, he said, until we get another opportunity.
Yeah.
And that was such a big thing that was happening now. And that's why it's such a thing that should be praised, what happened over the last week. And will still happen over the next couple of years, because Robin had the word, 2026 is the fix. Well, that's because, in the political realm, it takes time for it to, reset rules, change laws, all that stuff. So over the next 2 years, Donald Trump has a lot to do. And what Donald Trump does affects the world. I mean, already, since he just won, everyone is backing away from their wars. Russia's standing down from things. China's stopping Hamas. Because as America goes, the world goes, truly. Canada's next. Everything's going to start changing in Canada. When Canada and America are both standing properly before God, the world is in terror. Because Canada and America are the two most important countries outside of Israel in the entirety of the world. It doesn't mean that the people are better or something than other countries, but they're the most important. They just are. Especially America. Canada, too, is not much different than America. It's really almost the same country. Really. There's slight differences, but, we're really the same. And then Israel, for obvious reasons. So you can see the importance of it is why the Antichrist wanted to take over America. Because they could form the one world government. And the other reason that Satan has been using the Ukraine and the Ukrainian politicians is because Putin is also in the way.
So
Vladimir Putin
will
never submit to a one world government.
I didn't watch that Robin Bullock one. I watched some of them, but so
Yeah.
if this happened, that means the one world government's been placed on hold for a little bit. So it won't happen.
What's been happening?
It won't happen in 2030.
So 2030, when he said 2030 is up for grabs when he's talking about that, I think what's happening there is...
Well, that's not only him, that's everywhere. The UN has that on their website. United Nations has that on their website. 2030 is their plan. Like a plan for 2030.
Yeah. But the thing is, back in 2000 and... I think it was 2017-ish or so, I heard Kat Kerr talk about the Trump prophecy. So she talked about, how he was going to get 2 terms, and then Mike Pence, who was, the vice president, it was really just the vice president, but at the time was Mike Pence, was going to get 2 terms.
Yeah.
So obviously, we know what happened in 2020.
Yeah. Things don't work
and
out,
exposure had to happen. Because what should have been is right now, J.D. Vance would be president. Or really would have been Mike Pence right now, would be president. But because everything went down the way it happened, now we have the second term for Donald Trump, which is the prophetic ending of that. And now we're going to have 2 terms for JD Vance, which I believe the 2 terms for JD Vance are going to be back to back. I don't think there's going to be another separation.
God bless, John.
And that means 2030 is going to be kind of up for grabs in the sense of what's going to happen next. With JD Vance after that, like what's happening? It's like, are we going to go back to the liberals? Are they going to come out of their hiding and come up with this brand new Obama type of guy that everybody loves and wins over everybody and try it all over again? Are people going to be so awake to everything because America is going to be just like heaven, prophetic said, in that sense of like an amazing.
2030 is going to be the middle of JD Vance's.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's going to happen? But the thing, they can start saying things about him. It's up for grabs in the sense of what the people are going to start doing. Are they going to turn against him? Or what's going to happen? Which I got a feeling that because J.D. Vance is more of a traditional Christian guy and he's only going to get stronger in that stuff, I think he's going to make some controversial rulings or something. Maybe banning the LGBT or something, like something strong like that. So then in 2030, people have like this big controversial thing.
Yeah,
right?
They could hold it against him.
And then what's going to happen? Are they going to go deeper into God? Because you have a choice then. Are you going to stand for what the Bible says and go against? We'll just use LGBT as an example. The LGBT or Christians are going to just say, I don't really care as long as it doesn't affect me. And then the liberals are going to get mad, and then it's going to be a whole new thing. Like, we don't know. Because the thing is, over the next few years, America is going to become peaceable and lovely and great and perfect, basically, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So people can get kind of complacent and used to it and not really care about things anymore in the sense of standing up and stuff, right? So that's why I believe God said originally 2030 is up for grab, and now whatever the UN is saying, I mean, people in the spirit realm obviously know 2030 means something. So we'll see what happens then. But we do know over the next few years, things are only going to get better, and that's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing, and we can only hope that the Christians especially hold strong and don't grow weak. Because that's what happened, and that's why 2020 had to happen.
You're right.
Christians stopped standing up. I mean, people are afraid to ever say who they wanted to vote for. Now people don't care. People were wanting to stay out of fights and stay out of things and just like, it's annoying, it's stupid, but whatever. No one wanted to ever acknowledge anything, stand up for anything. It's why everything went so crappy,
Yeah.
And when the church stays out of the world, is when the world goes crazy. So that's why I believe 2030 is up for grabs. So we'll see what happens then.
See what happens.
The prophecy is, Trump with his 2 terms and his vice president with 2 terms. And it should have all been back to back to back. But, things happen in the spiritual realm, good and bad. And really is the Christians' fault in one sense because they let it happen. If someone stood firm against God as a whole of a country, stood for God against evil, and none of this would have even happened. It really just comes down to the people.
2030 would be the beginning of Vance's presidency because 2029 is going to be Trump's last. Because 4 years. He has 4 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like
starting 2025, so that would be 2029. Well,
the next election will be 2028. So 2028 would be when Vance won. So he'd be in the middle of his first term, basically. That's why I think he's in the
but 2029 will be the end of Trump's.
That's what I'm saying, though. I think that when J.D. Vance becomes president,
I guess, that would be in the middle.
He's going to make it controversial. Something's going to happen. Yeah. He's going to come up with some rule or something. Because I don't see, like Donald Trump, for instance. Okay, here's another prophecy, which this actually is what I was really thinking. I forgot about it. I was telling Pat this before. There was another prophecy recently. I forget who said it. One of the prophets online just talks about how porn is going to become illegal.
Yeah.
They were literally showing how porn becomes illegal. J.D. Vance banning porn.
Yeah.
That could be the thing.
Okay.
Because you know how big of an addiction, especially now, porn is. Even Christians just saying it's just a video, so it doesn't matter, right? So J.D. Vance now, because I can't see Trump banning it because Trump doesn't really care as much about the women sexual stuff as much because he how he So I mean, Ivana literally was like a Playboy kind of.
She was, yeah.
So I mean, I can't see Trump banning porn. I just can't see that happening. Like he might be against it, but I can't see him banning it because he just knows his own past with it, right? But J.D. Vance, that's a whole other thing. I think J.D. Vance would ban it.
Yeah.
Because he has an Indian wife, which usually Indians are kind of strict on that stuff anyway. He's obviously Christian, kind of a baby Christian now, but he's only going to grow deeper over the next 4 years. So then when he becomes president, I think he's going to ban porn. I think he's going to be the president to ban porn. Make it illegal, which is going to be beautiful. And then that's going to cause a giant thing. And everyone's going to be saying he needs to stop being president. There might be raids against him or something, I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen. That's just my own thought on what could happen, because it kind of lines up all together. Now, I could be wrong.
I mean, that would be
happens,
an easier thing to ban, for sure.
Yeah. And it makes logical sense, because it is causing a lot of harmful problems in the world. It would be like the prohibition, but with porn.
For sure.
It'd be no different. Or he could be banning drugs or something again. Like, it was going to be something like that. Something that's easy and understandable to ban. The LGBT, I think, is too deep at this point. Maybe in the future.
It's gonna be that's a tough one. That's gonna be a tough one. I agree with you.
Like, he can revoke the marriage or something again, but I think it's going to take longer than that. I think it'll take at least 10 to 20 years. I don't think it's going to take like 6 or whatever. I think that's longer in the future. I do think it's going to happen, though. No one's really said that. I just have a feeling that's going to happen, because I do know Kat Kerr talked about how in the future, there's going to be light and dark areas in America. Like, it's going to be areas are going to be so full of God's light and God's power that as you just cross the borderline for that state, you get healed. It's going to be that powerful. It's a literal thing. There's a nice saying, like a literal, but there's going to be some very evil areas that they're so demonic and twisted.
So has she named the areas that will be evil?
Well, I remember her talking about a couple of different areas. She's talked about how California is going to be known as the godliest place in America. California, the entire state of California is going to be... Yeah, but you can see, when you think about it, all the areas that are most heavily affected now is Satan trying to take over, because he knows God's plan. He knows what God wants to do, so what does he do? He goes to Las Vegas and Los Angeles and all these other places, and he turns them into these, like, perverted, terrible, evil things, because he knows God wants to use those places for good, So California, Las Vegas is another big name. Like, these names she mentioned are going to be places of light. I don't remember the places. I don't remember, because it's been like a year and a half since I heard that word originally, but it was like really amazing. So I believe that's probably when the whole LGBT stuff will be, like, maybe certain states are going to start banning it. And there'll be like the start of it, right?
Maybe.
But then there'll be certain states that leave it, and then the ones that leave it are probably going to be the ones that have like the sections of darkness.
Maybe.
And literally the only people who are going to stay in those darkness are the ones who want it. So like the satanic people who desire Satanism and desire evil and desire all that stuff are going to be there. No person, like no average person, is going to ever stay there. It's not going to be like now where you have like, good people living in Chicago and stuff, or it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like, it's so perverted and twisted. You're going to wonder, like, it's going to be like Sodom and Gomorrah type thing. Like, it's, in one sense, you wonder how they're not just going to be bombs. Like, put them all there and destroy them all. Like, come on, man. If I was president, I would just boop. Goodbye. You don't want
Wow!
You made your choice. I mean, dude, if they're that evil,
if they're that evil,
that seems like a threat. Like, seriously, I wouldn't want them in my country. Like, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, if they're that evil,
that's for the future, though. That might be in our lifetime. I don't know if that's going to be in our lifetime or the next generation, because it's hard to tell. That's the one thing with prophetic timing, is like you never know the time. It's like, Isaiah had all these prophecies that didn't happen until hundreds of years later. Everyone thought, oh, see, it's a false prophet, Isaiah. Whoa, false. No, just not in your lifetime, because God works outside of time. So He says what's going to happen. The prophet is told to say what God says. But then sometimes God gives timing for things. Sometimes He does. Like, with the prophecy of Jesus, He gave a timing. He said it's going to happen before this event happens and after this event. Like, He gave a timing. It might not be an exact year, but He gave a timing. So, like, for instance, if some prophet made a prophecy about, oh, it's going to be sometime in Trump's presidency, well, it's going to be within an 8-year period or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's how God works for timing. But, like, in a sense of, like, these things, we don't have direct times. Like with the porn ban and all these other things, we can kind of make our own estimates, and it's kind of fun, honestly, because you kind of get to talk about things more. But it's an exciting time to be in. This is definitely one of the most exciting times in history, I think, to be in. And it's cool to think that when we reach heaven, we'll be able to say we were in a timeline for someone great. Just like how people can say, oh, you were in the days of David, or you were in the days of Abraham, or you were in the days... We can say, yeah, we're in the days of Donald Trump. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's just as big. We don't think of it that way, but it's really just as big. And it's really cool to think about.
I agree with that.
Donald Trump.
If he died in the 2000s, well, you in the days of Bush? Oh. Wow. You in the days of Clinton? Oh, okay. You bum. So they got their own little club in heaven. The sad people.
Wow.
No, but this is an exciting time, and I think people need to be more, especially Christians, they need to be more thankful, honestly, to be in this time. Because, man, there's so many people I've seen make videos like, man, I wish I was in this time because there's so many cool things happening, or I wish I was in that time. I mean, dude, we're in one of the most exciting times to be in.
For sure.
Like, seriously. And then everyone just complains about it. Like, oh my goodness, if you're complaining about this, I can't imagine you living in, like, I don't know, David's time or Daniel's time. Daniel thrown in the lion's den for praying. You want to live in that time, but you can't handle being canceled on social media? Like, really? Like, wow. Okay. Priority check. So yeah, I mean, the Antichrist spirit, though, is going to continue to try coming. Right now, America is really strong on God, I believe, and is only getting stronger. I just hope that we don't weaken over the next few years. I think that's why 2030 is up for grabs. Everybody got to stand fast and stand firm and hold against anything that resembles the Antichrist spirit.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely am going to start praying more for J.D. Vance to go stronger in God, because I think he's going to be like the most Christian president in the future. Like, Donald Trump right now has acknowledged God so greatly, but at the same time, you know, just like how David had his things, like, you know, with Bathsheba and all these things, Donald Trump has had his things as well. J.D. Vance has the opportunity to be kind of not blameless in a sense, but like, you know, almost spotless in his appearance and stuff, of like doing things. Like, he's a cleaner guy, you know. He was a military guy. He has kind of that renown, respect, you know. And if he dives deeper in God, he could be the most Christian leader in the history of America.
True.
You know, he could make the most Christian themed laws. He could like ban things that are evil. Like, he could do that. And Donald Trump is like the perfect guy to set him up for it, because it's like, you need a Donald Trump right now. And then he's like the perfect entree to J.D. Vance, if J.D. Vance chooses. Like, I think Mike Pence was supposed to, because, you know, Mike Pence was also a very Christian guy. Same kind of role. He's the same role. See, Donald Trump, I mean, God chose the same people to do his job. You know, if Donald Trump rejected it, he would have chose someone else just like Donald Trump. Mike Pence walked away from his promise, walked away from the prophecy on his life. He walked away from it entirely. You know? So then what did God do? He didn't throw out that prophecy, no. He used someone else. But now Mike Pence, even though Mike Pence is still saved, I'm sure, but unless he fell away from it, I don't know. I can't speak for him, but assuming he didn't fall away from it, he's still saved. He didn't lose on that, but he lost out on a great blessing in his life, a great prophecy in his life. If he just watched forward, he would have received it.
Yeah.
So now J.D. Vance, he came and picked it up. He received it. And you can see he's the same kind of character as Mike Pence.
He is, yeah.
He's really a carbon copy. And you can see it's just another testament to how God works, and more proof about how God is working in this situation. So I think God is going to use J.D. Vance to be the most Christian leader America's ever seen. And I just hope people are going to be ready for it, you know. Especially Christians are ready. Like the Taylor Swift song, ready for it. So yeah, I mean, and now the music industry, we already know that with prophecies, that's going to change a lot, and we see all the Diddy stuff, and that's just the start of it. There's going to be so much happening.
Oh yeah, there's going to be
I think that's going to be.
More
I think
out.
the part of the fix is going to also be with the music industry, you know, in Hollywood as a whole. That's why, you know, when we were talking this like last week, and I said the movies I think are going to start being good in 2027. So I think everything is going to get fixed in 2026. And then, you know, it takes a year for like movies and shows to develop and stuff, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That's why I think in 2027, which will be just like heaven, Robin said a few different times, I think that's when media, like music, TV shows, movies, and games, I think 2027 might be the best year for media.
Maybe.
That's what I'm guessing. Which would be amazing, because that would be like the start of the PS6, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Did you
I
see
mean,
that
dude,
they
this
released
exciting time.
yeah, PlayStation, man? I don't know what's going on with them. Well, we're on that
They need to get fixed.
subject. Yeah, well, they have that occult game. Did you see that?
What, is it a new one? You mean
Yeah, like
like
a new game. PlayStation dropped it on their.
What's it called?
It's called The Occult. That's literally the game.
Just The Occult.
The Occult.
Like just,
yeah, it's called
is it on the store?
Occult. I don't know. They dropped the trailer
Look it
for
up.
it. I was like, what? How
Oh, and did you see the
blatant?
Jack Black Satan movie?
I
that was
did.
in,
That's
like,
another
Christmas?
one. That's another one. I was like, what?
I was surprised that Jack Black did that.
Jack Black did work.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I see
The
the
Occultist.
Occultist. Yeah, I see it there.
Yeah,
I see it.
like what?
You know,
Basically, the Jack Black thing is a Christmas movie about Satan. Literally, he plays Satan. So a kid writes a Christmas list and saying "Dear Santa," but he misspells Santa into Satan. So then Satan shows up and says, "I'm going to grant you all your wishes and stuff." So now this kid is going around with Satan like he's a Santa Claus. Like, it's so awful, man. Like, seriously.
That's really weird.
They could have done that idea with, like, a fairy or something. I don't know. Like, they could have done the idea of, like, you know, like, I don't know, someone granting wish. Like, I don't. But, dude, really? That was terrible. Like, it's a Christmas movie of all times. You can see Satan in the movie industry right now trying to twist Christianity, using Christmas for Satan. Like, really? So I hope that movie does horrible. I mean, everybody in the comments was like, this is terrible. At least everyone in the comments was against it. But yeah, this occultist game. I mean, I used to like Jack Black a lot. Like, he was in a lot of movies I liked growing up. But, like, I don't know, he's falling off, man.
now I have like 4 games.
Okay, so the occultist. Mystic, the most important object for Alan. His name is Alan. He's a mystic, apparently. Through it, he was able to interact with the environment and modify it. It's a next-gen graphics. The Occultist has astonishing level and quality of graphics. It's a survival horror. The Occultist has all the distinctive elements of a genre. It's full of puzzles, apparently. Oh, the story and setting. Okay, here it is. In the Occultist, paranormal investigator Alan Rebels. What kind of name is Alan Rebels? Travels to the mysterious island of Godstone to determine the cause of the sudden disappearance of his father. Even though he mentioned the island repeatedly over the decades, all that Alan really knows is that his father is born and spent years there. This sounds so boring. Alan does not travel alone. He carries with him a mystical pendulum, an object of unknown origin that accompanied him on all his past paranormal investigations. As he explores the foggy streets of Godstone is inhabited by 1950 by a cult in the world that did disturbing experiments and cruel rituals.
Oof.
Dude, this sounds like the worst game ever created in the world. Watch Game Ranks love this game. Like, watch them give it like a.
Yeah, I'm gonna
9
keep an eye on it.
Oh, there's another occult game just announced too,
Ranks.
called Occult Chambers. Just announced as
What is
well.
with all the occult stuff? What is going on, dude?
Yeah, I mean, first you said you're in the occult.
Shut up. Shut up, dude.
What
was the-
Occultist Chambers is a third-person action horror narrative game set in India. What in the world? His name is Dhruv on his quest to find missing father. Dude, look, the same plot. What in the world? He's on a quest to find his missing father. What in the world? It's the
Occultist
same plot.
Chambers?
Yes, Occult Chambers. But dude, it's literally the same plot, but it's set in India.
Oh yeah, Occult Chambers, yeah.
Dude, he's looking for his father who vanished in a village. That's the exact same plot, dude. Dude, what in the world? That is hilarious. Occult Chambers and the Occultists are literally the exact same plot.
They must have stole off of each other. They're both occultists.
And they're both coming out. It's both of this coming soon, so they're both. Gee.
Yeah, what's up with all the occult stuff? Like,
And Life is Strange. Like, that does
Life
not
is
belong in
Strange.
Life is Strange.
That was
like,
weird.
What in the world? That game was about a teenage girl trying to save her friend in time travel. That's all the game was about. And now
Yeah,
there's
because
always the
it's
cultists.
weird because Quantum Break doesn't have anything occultist in it, and it's a time travel game. And it doesn't have anything in it.
I wonder about Alan Wake 2, though. That one's 50-50. I wonder if that stuff has it or not.
That I don't know. That I don't know.
Because Alan Wake 2 looks intriguing, but at the same time...
But Alan Wake 2 is more supernatural, though, rather than time machines.
Yeah, but Alan Wake 1 was also supernatural, but it was not in an occultist way.
And so was Control. Control is more... They're more involving Monarch, the creators of that time machine. Because I know Control is... She has the same powers as... Kind of the same powers as Jake from Quantum Break.
Stay fine.
Oh.
No. Funny guy, man.
I guess we're done Bible study since we finished on that topic.
Yep.
We went over...
I will wrap up.
But man, I don't know what's with the occultist.
Talking about the occult.
I mean, this has been a subject since Life is Strange, because Life is Strange had a lot of stuff in it.
Which made no sense. Like, no sense.
Like, it wasn't, dude, it wasn't like one, maybe.
Every character.
It was like every single character, every single time, like, thing you looked at had some type of an occult symbol in it. I made the joke. I'm not gonna say it now, but I made the joke. I was like, "Oh, Square Enix is just making this game like, hey, you know, we're in the, you know what?"
That's where
that line came from. Because I was joking. I was joking, and I said it that way. I said, "Oh yeah, it's like Square Enix just showing us, hey, we're in the, you know what?" So. I won't say it anymore because I get clipped.
I mean, I already clipped it once. I don't need to clip it again.
Yeah, I know.
It's in the meme library. But
yeah, it's really weird.
It's weird.
Very weird, and I've seen a lot more of it coming out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ever since 2020, Satan took over. He took over.
Hopefully, this changes next year.
That's what the fix is all about.
Yeah, hopefully all this stuff will start going away again. And hopefully we get a proper Life is Strange finale. Hopefully we get a proper Life is Strange finale.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to take a couple years, so we probably won't see it until 2026. So.
Yeah, I know.
Imagine Max becomes a Christian. That'd be amazing, dude. Oh my goodness.
That would be awesome.
She leaves the occult. I mean, she's not in the occult. Everybody else is.
No, yeah, I didn't see her with
every character.
Except for
Max Caulfield.
Max and what's her friend's name? The other guy.
Sophie.
No, not Sophie. Luke.
Vin.
No, who's the black guy? I forget.
Lucas.
Lucas.
Oh, Moses. That's Moses.
Moses.
Moses is the black guy.
Except for Moses. Moses wasn't.
Yeah, Moses was just always talking about how he has to put up with things because he's black. Oh my goodness, like 3 different times he said, "Oh, you don't know how it is. I'm black." Like, okay, buddy.
Hey guys, we're gonna end the stream. Bible study. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna do Friday Fun
Night. Every single
Friday
character outside of Max and Moses was bisexual. Vin is bisexual. Sophie is bisexual. Amanda is bisexual. Reggie